Okay, so IMG and the RFL want to scrap Magic Round. In my opinion, Magic Round is one of the few success stories Rugby League has had in Europe in a very long time. Now, we can argue the pros and cons on the French club's involvement in the pyramid system from Super League downwards. Catalan have won a Challenge Cup. Toulouse have actually played in the Super League, so we can argue the pros and cons of their involvement on a fan away days, etc., etc. Do they bring enough away fans to games, and all the rest? But here's the thing: Magic Round, in my opinion, as I say, is one of the few success stories we have had. Absolutely, taking it to St James's Park for as long as they did really did work. The local population in the northeast, from Newcastle, Sunderland, and the surrounding area, who weren't Rugby League fans before, probably are now. The local engagement was brilliant. And yes, all the fans of all the clubs travelled from all over, including I'm a London Broncos fan. Broncos fans travelled up there. They were willing to travel from London and the southeast all the way to the northeast. And that is a very long distance. They were willing to do that for Magic Round. And they would stay for the whole weekend. Fans would stay for the whole weekend. It contributed massively to the economy of Newcastle in the middle of summer when the football season is not taking place. And people from elsewhere in the northeast went who weren't Rugby League fans. So it was a good thing. But IMG, their reasoning is the empty seats, because not every game will have every fan in attendance, because they'll be milling around, they'll be doing fan zones, they may not be at the stadium at that point, they may not want to watch all the days play of all the teams playing, they may only want to watch their team. Their argument is the empty seats look bad for broadcasters. But here's the thing, not every game right now in Super League is selling out, or the Challenge Cup for that matter. Look at Wembley. Not all the tickets for Wembley were sold that were allocated. So part of IMG's remit is to grow the game. Get new fans. Also, get a better TV deal. Since IMG's involvement, the TV deal has dropped in value. And this is where there's another problem. Magic Round has actually been that successful that the NRL went, we'll do that. Then the AFL were like, well, if our rival league in Australia is doing that, we've got to do that. We'll name it Gather Round. We won't use Magic Round because that's sort of a bit of a trademark infringement by Rugby League, but we'll give it a go. And now the NRL in Australia, their women's league, the NRLW, have also got a Magic Round. And for the most part, not every fan likes Magic Round, and that is a fair viewpoint to have. But I like Magic Round. The NRL copied Super League and just made it better, in my opinion. The fan engagement, not only watching in the stadium, but also around the surrounding stadium precincts, has been fantastic. Businesses love it because it means lots of fans over that weekend period spending money in hotels, restaurants, pubs, bars, and spending money in the local economy, who otherwise would not be there. It also gives fans of non-Rugby League fans a chance to actually experience what the sport is all about. Because not everyone in Queensland is a Rugby League fan, ironically. Who knew? And not everyone in Melbourne, for example, is an Aussie Rules fan. Who knew? These cities and these locations buy in. Now, yes, moving it to Ellen Road at the time they did, Leeds is a Rugby League city. There's fans there. The location of the stadium is the problem. They should have actually had it at Headingley, League, potentially. You could argue that. But they still kept it in a Rugby League heartland. They weren't brave, like they going to Newcastle, which isn't, or going to Villa Park, the Midlands, or going to London, or wherever. Because there's plenty of stadiums around the country that could host Magic Round. And they would love the extra revenue when their host teams aren't there. They would go, oh, we're getting extra money as a stadium operator. Yeah, this is all good. And the local economy is thriving. This is all good, right? But the IMG reasoning is not good look for TV because not every seat is occupied. We want bums on seats. That's part of our remit. We don't like it. But here's the thing. Since IMG's involvement, the TV deal's worth less money. And this is where I have concerns because Sky near enough have a monopoly on Rugby League in this country. The BBC obviously shows the Challenge Cup, shows a handful of Super League games and shows the internationals at the end of the season. We know they're going to be the broadcaster of note. That's going to be broadcasting England versus Australia, the 3 tests, like they did with Tonga, Samoa and New Zealand. We know they're going to be the host broadcaster because England are playing at home. Fine, you reach a wider audience. The value of the TV deal as it currently stands domestically has halved, yes, listen, from 60 odd million to 30 odd million in a very short space of time. This current TV deal is worth a few million less than the last one when Channel 4 were involved. So if under IMG's involvement, the TV deal is worth less money, which means the league is more reliant on gate receipts. Let that sink in. And at a time when people have less money in their pockets, that's a bit worrying. When people have less money to spend, they're not going to go to as many games. If you're trying to get casual fans to become hardcore fans, that's going to be, I need to look at my money. Now, admittedly, to watch rugby league is a lot cheaper than watching football or rugby union. Sometimes even the cricket. And I'm just saying, as a sports fan who's looked at ticket prices and merchandise prices, rugby league is more affordable. It's not perfect, but it's more affordable. So this is a concern that I have. Losing Magic Round, losing that gate ticket revenue and that merchandise revenue that the clubs are very reliant on right now with a weak TV deal is quite concerning. The other issue is the rival broadcasters here in the UK, there's reports they have money issues. They're losing money. TNT Sports has the same financial problems of being in the red, not the black, that the predecessor, BT Sport, did. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery in the US was hemorrhaging money on its sports networks. It pulled out of the regional sports and national sports broadcasting over in the US because it was losing money to then buy BT Sport, a controlling stake in BT Sport, yet another broadcaster. That's hemorrhaging money, and that has continued. Now, Viaplay obviously stepped in to try and buy Premier Sports and merge those two entities together, and again, Viaplay started losing money. They didn't get the expected revenue from being cheaper than TNT and Sky for fans to switch over because it just didn't happen. Because in order to watch Premier Sports, you have to have a Sky subscription. Yeah, that's another problem. This is where Sky have a monopoly. So I am concerned that if they do go ahead with scrapping Magic Round, this is going to hurt clubs more financially. At a time when they've got to have the overseas player quota rise from 7 to 10 and 2 new teams added to Super League, the quality is going to suffer as well. It might be more entertaining because more mistakes are going to happen because the quality level is that little bit lower and therefore it might be a bit more of a fun product to watch potentially. But clubs are going to have to fork out more money for 3 more overseas players and they're going to expect to be paid more to play here than the English or French lads would. And that is, I think, is a fair worry to have. IMG is expecting clubs to invest money they haven't got to raise their grading. We don't know what's going to happen with Salford. Some other clubs like Huddersfield, for example, have attendance problems. In fact, Huddersfield are drawing less fans than London Broncos are, so let that sink in. And I'm not joking on that. Huddersfield has become a football location over a rugby league location, even though it's the birthplace of rugby league. Let that sink in. So, even some of the traditional clubs are struggling to get fans through the turnstiles to watch games. Some are, not all, but when you've got clubs like St Helens and Leeds and Wigan posting losses rather than profits, and they're the big clubs, this is where the concern that having a weak TV deal, scrapping Magic Round is going to hurt. And we can argue on, the Super League clubs signing up for NRL Vegas weekend. We can argue the pros and cons of that. We can argue the pros and cons of the World Club Challenge and the Challenge Cup final remaining at Wembley. But Magic Round is one of the few successes the RFL has had as a governing body in the last 2 decades. Potentially scrapping it, because it's a potential. They haven't confirmed it's being scrapped. They are considering scrapping it. I think would be a retrograde step financially for the game at a time when the game's finances are paper thin at best. And look, if Salford go tits up, it does completely impact the Super League, Championship and League One structure, because for some reason we're now grading clubs off the field in regards to their social media engagement. How many likes they're getting, how many followers they have, rather than actual merit on the field, winning and losing. We're not grading clubs on that, as in promotion relegation, which has been the traditional system we've had. We tried franchising before. It didn't work. It was scrapped very quickly. Look what's happened to rugby union by ring-fencing the Premiership. Has not worked. Clubs are losing money. And they've got a better TV deal than what rugby league does. They've got a bigger national following in regards to fans, player participation, youth level participation than rugby league does. So by bringing in IMG, has that really solved Rugby League's problems? Is scrapping Magic Round the way to, solve issues? No, I would think not. The majority of fans really love Magic Round, and new fans have been brought to the sport because of Magic Round. And if IMG's, some of the criteria IMG have been given by the RFL, including growing the fan base and growing the game, scrapping Magic Round sounds like a bad idea. But that's my viewpoint on it. It's only been considered, hasn't been confirmed yet. We don't know what clubs are going to be in Super League next year. Who the 14 clubs are going to be. Is it going to be 2 clubs up from the Championship? Is it going to be 3? Is it going to be 4? How many Super League clubs are going to be graded above those top 4 Championship clubs as things currently stand? With York, Toulouse, London and then Bradford being in that order the top 4 in the Championship under the current grading system. Will Salford survive? These are all unanswered questions. Also, the timing of saying we're going to expand. I'm sorry, it's very short notice. It's very rushed. While I want to see a bigger Super League so it can match the NRL in size, because that would make perfect sense having a parallel league system with the same size and the same player base. We're not quite there yet. And while I would love to see my club, the London Broncos, back in Super League, we're not there yet. I don't believe. I think we've still got some building blocks to put in place. But potentially we could get graded higher than Salford. Hypothetically, we could get graded higher than Huddersfield. Hypothetically, so could York, Toulouse, and Bradford. We could all be graded higher than 4 Super League clubs. At which point, that does raise the question of finances, stability, investment, and losing Magic Round. I think would be disastrous for those current Super League clubs and those wanting to get into the Super League, because as it is, it's a gate-driven and merchandise-driven league. The TV revenue is not enough. And Magic Round, while it may not be perfect viewing for TV because of the empty seats, fan engagement has been brilliant. New fans have been brought to the game. The excitement level around a Magic Round is fantastic. And not every fan likes it, and that's fine. But I do think it would be more damaging for Rugby League to lose it. So there we go, that's my views on it. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on potentially losing Magic Round in the comments section below. And I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.